Last week, right, on Tuesday, I call my doctor and say, hey, I'm out of meds. Can I get a refill? So I call, and the nurse is like, this is not a prescription that the doctor gives you. I'm like, well, it is, because I've been taking it for a while, and the only reason that I take it is because this doctor is giving it to me. And she's like, no, this is not his prescription. And I'm like, okay, well, are you saying that he doesn't want me to take it anymore? Because if you're saying he doesn't want to prescribe it, then I just need him to say he doesn't want me to take it. So there's a lot of communication and back and forth that goes on around that. Basically, the source of this medication is in question. Like, who prescribed this to you the first time? And is it something that you need to continue taking? So, as far as I know, this is the only doctor I've been dealing with this prescription. So I'm giving her a little bit of pushback because I'm utterly befuddled as to why we're even having a conversation about whether or not he needs to be prescribing it to me, because in my mind, he is the person that prescribes it to me, and he is the reason that I'm taking it. So there's a lot of back and forth because she has to text the doctor, then he has to message her back. So then finally she calls me back the same day and says, okay, he's agreed to send in the prescription for you, but it's only going to be for this one time that he does it for you, because he thinks that this is something that your primary care provider should take on. So I'm still confused as to why we're talking about my primary care provider when I'm actually talking to my lupus doctor about this. Now, mind you, I have 2 lupus doctors. I have a primary care provider. I have a psychiatrist. I have several other doctors that I see that are managing my health. So when you're seeing that many doctors because of your chronic illness, you get prescribed so many medications by so many different people. Sometimes the wires can get crossed, and this is exactly what happened here. So they went in and called in the prescription. So I called the pharmacy to go pick up the prescription, and the pharmacy is like, we actually can't fill it because the issue is with your insurance. So now I have to call the insurance company and find out why this prescription that I've been taking for over a year at this point is no longer something that is covered by them. Needless to say, there's a lot of back and forth that goes on with that between the pharmacy, the insurance company, and my actual lupus doctor. Okay? Now this lupus doctor is the one that treats specifically my kidney issues related to lupus, okay? Mind you, I have 2 of those people, right? Eventually, fast forward to today. Today is Friday. This started Tuesday of last week. I still haven't been taking this medication. And I laugh because this is the actual life of a person living with a chronic illness. This is like a normal occurrence. And granted, I am someone who can advocate for myself, who can speak up for my needs, and who can ask for what I need and what I want and what I deserve. But imagine somebody who doesn't have the capacity to do that. Imagine somebody who doesn't have the language ability or the commitment or the organization skills or the resources. It is quite literally exhausting. So finally, fast forward to Friday of this week, I call the pharmacy before I go pick up my prescription to make sure, because at this point I've already been there and I've already called numerous times, and it's been a lot of let's run, and let's stop. And the pharmacy says, actually, yeah, the insurance has denied coverage because the prescription that your doctor wrote is only for 30 days, and they only fill prescriptions for 90 days, so they're not going to cover it. Okay, so then I call the doctor. Can you guys fill it for 90 days? Because the insurance won't cover it if it's only for 30 days. So then the doctor is right back to the conversation of, this is not something I'm supposed to be filling to begin with. So then I'm like, okay, let me give them the benefit of the doubt. Let me call my primary care doctor to see if they're the ones prescribing this to me. So I call them, and I speak to a lady on the phone at the front desk. And mind you, I start the call by giving my name and date of birth, and then I say the whole this is regarding, my prescription, regarding the sinus infection. This is about sinus infection. Regarding the sinus infection, I want to know if this medication needs to actually be refilled by you guys and not my lupus doctor, my kidney disease lupus doctor, because he's saying that it's not his responsibility. And it's not that he doesn't want to help me, it's that he doesn't actually monitor that part of the medication, like what the medication does when he does his blood draw. He's not keeping an eye on these numbers, so he doesn't feel comfortable having that as his responsibility if he's not actively involved in managing, you know, those numbers. Like, are we getting better? Are we getting worse? Like that whole thing, which I totally get. However, I am still in a position where I do not have what I need, and I need to know if this is something I need to continue taking or not take moving forward. I'm still stuck with no one who's giving me clear answers. So I'm speaking to the front desk lady. She's like, oh, well, the nurse is currently seeing a patient, so the nurse is gonna have to give you a call back. I'm gonna have to send you to her voicemail. I'm like, okay, well, before you send me to her voicemail, can you pull up my file and see if this medication is already here? Meaning, did it originate from your office and I somehow forgot about it? So she goes to pull up my file and she's like, what's your name? What's your date of birth? And mind you, even though I told her this is for a sinus infection numerous times, she keeps talking to me about anxiety. She's like, oh, is this about the anxiety medication? No. Sinus infection. Oh, is this about the anxiety? No. Like, lady, I know I have anxiety. That's why I have a psychiatrist. But this is not about my mental health. This is literally about the sinus infection, and I need to know if you guys are going to like house this for me so that I don't have to have this back and forth with my kidney doctor about this medication. So then she goes to look at it. After a good like solid like 10 minutes, she goes, so it looks like it's not listed here. I can't see it, so that was completely a waste of my time. I'm gonna have to send you to their voicemail, and they'll call you back. So I'm like, sure, that sounds good. So I left her voicemail. I still haven't gotten a call back as of now. I ended up calling my pharmacy back and saying, can you guys look at this prescription and tell me who the doctor was that was the very first prescriber of this prescription? Because obviously I need to know who that person is, because I think that person is my kidney doctor, but obviously he's saying it's not him. And I don't know who it is because I thought it was him. So then they look at it and they tell me, oh, it's this person. And now I'm realizing this person is an actual urgent care person that I saw when my primary care doctor's office closed. So before I could get in to see my new primary doctor, in that gap, I had to see an urgent care doctor when I was having a sinus infection. And that urgent care doctor who prescribed it to me January of 2022, right? We're now in February of 2024. Mind you, it's been 2 whole years. I said a year, but it's been 2 whole years of my kidney doctor prescribing me this medication. So why would I think that it's anybody else's responsibility? Why would I think that? Why would I remember this tidbit if I didn't have the cognition to ask these inquisitive questions about the origin of the prescription? If I didn't have the creativity, the flexibility of mind, the detective skills to get to the root of this problem, I would have never known that this is where the prescription originated, because nobody else knows, obviously. So my kidney doctor was actually doing me a favor by taking that on for the last 2 years. But what he's saying is, hey, I'm no longer comfortable doing that. And I had no way of knowing that he was doing me a favor because I totally blanked that out of my mind. Like, it hasn't come up. It hasn't been an issue. And every time I've seen him, we've never talked about it. It's never been a problem. So I didn't even know that he felt like tired of doing me this favor. So that's what life looks like. This is a day in the life of someone living with a chronic illness. Is that sometimes the nice guy you think is the bad guy, and there's a lot of miscommunication and misinformation, and there's a lot of detective skills, there's a lot of following up, a lot of phone calls, and it's very frustrating. And today I felt bad because I ended up taking my frustration out on the receptionist and my kidney doctor until I realized, like, no, she's the good guy. They're actually trying to help me. So he's gonna refill it one more time, but I'm definitely talking to my primary care moving forward. So it was embarrassing, but I wanted to share it with you guys. So